They're going to be battling their way through into the draft right now. We've already seen a few strategists taken away there. Taken away a Jeff, Mantis, a Loki, Adam, you name it, it is taken. But what else is taken? Emma Frost and a Garut are going to be getting the boot there. But at least we do have some good protects through on Emma, Mantis, and the Bucky. Going to be good to see how they utilize those. Another protector going to be on its way from Darkzero right now, though. And curious where they adjust their focus.
I do think it's really interesting to see how Bucky has been prioritized thus far, and of course we know that we jumped right in the middle of the pick and ban phase, but it's important to note that we are going currently onto Hell's Heaven, and Darkzero currently, after stage 2 alone, are 1-0 on Hell's Heaven. That number is absolutely going to change because I was talking to the Darkzero team behind the stage, and they were telling me that they got drafted at Hell's Heaven 5 different times. I mean, out of all the other Dom maps, imagine that. Meanwhile, VP, you look at their win rate record on these different maps, and it's incredible how consistent this team is. They're currently 6-2 on Hell's Heaven, but their best game mode is actually on Convergence. But considering they have such a strong record, this is going to be difficult if Darkzero want to defeat these Titans from EMEA. Seeing all the familiar faces you guys saw down there on your screens. Sparker, Finzi, Vaya and Drijo, Nevix, Saipe. I mean, so much to look forward to here between EMEA versus Americas once again.
That's it. The inter-regional combat is coming to fruition right now into Hell's Heaven Domination map number 1 here. So, ready to rumble. Both these teams certainly are, and they're already looking to pick their way through and see how they may approach this first mission area here. But great to get a bit of focus on the little nooks and crannies of the map before we do open the gates into this one and fire away, ready to go. And let's see how the mission area will fare as we're playing into a Portal combat.
All right, let's get it going. As you see, Impunity already set the stage up to get onto the point just as quickly as a nice stun onto 3. Finds Minty twice this time around. Saipe being able to back away. Same thing for Nevix as Rymate comes out of the mouth of that portal. Ready to see the crew walls getting set up here from Nevix as Pai in the back is able to get that snipe onto Madara.
That's it, a great opening KO coming through from VP there, and I'm going to be looking for more on the other side of this, so very keen to see how things will shape up in this one. But decent beginning from VP there, you know, gaining the early momentum with the opening KO. That's a great way to establish yourselves onto the mission area.
You think we got you? Think not.
Yeah.
We have some more action coming to you guys soon. Our players get things figured out here. But yeah, already looking at the composition that we had exposed to us, not only between the group, but also getting that really early pick from Pai that you saw from the Adam Warlock already playing in the back. And, you know, when you talk about Virtus Pro, this is a team that is very quick to adapt any sort of composition. I mean, look at the individual players on that team alone, how strong they are to piece together VP, who, despite the highs and the lows, have stuck together no matter what.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? You know, they've really adaptable team. I think it really just goes into, I guess, the mind games that are being played there. You know, their coach is able to keep them focused, keep them locked in, to adapt to any kind of situation there. And I think that really goes to show the hard work they've been able to put into this one to really achieve the best that they can. But really excited to see what they showcase here today. You know, whether Darkzero can carry a bit of the momentum from their previous series. Obviously, that one was a bit of a nail-biter, you know?
It was, and I mean, if anything showcase upset potential here, I mean, Asia came to play. Reject with an upset, I will like to say here. While everyone's looking at Group A, like, you know, maybe, you know, we will have the obvious teams, right? Well, think again, because currently Reject just beat Envy, your team that was ranked on top here from the Americas region, now falling at the hands of the Asian teams that have been really able to rise up. You currently look at Darkzero and you look at the flip side of how they've been able to make those changes. They're not a team that has stuck together like we've seen VP, right? They literally have so many different pieces. Really, the only mainstay member of that team has been Smash, the controller player that Darkzero basically rebuilt around. Then you have the addition of these individual players, Amazing, Korova, and then you see what they bring to the table, as well as Impunity too. You have all these different, Imara obviously, but you have all these different pieces that are brought in together to Darkzero, and it took them some time at the start of stage 2 to build up that synergy. But obviously, looking at the way that playoffs had played out here for the last week of American playoffs, they've been able to figure things out. But against VP, it's going to be a different Titan to deal with.
That's it. You know, obviously they got their little revenge story against Sentinels into stage 2 there, so definitely looking to see if they can bring some of that kind of energy in through to the grand finals here today, and very eager to see exactly what kind of Darkzero we're going to be seeing. You know, obviously they've had a good start into the day, they're feeling confident, feeling good, but we'll see if they are going to be able to emulate and mirror that energy into the second one today. Obviously, it seems that they just can't escape Hell's Heaven. You know, they're just destined to be imprisoned there.
Yeah, and I was talking to them wondering, you know, like, are you guys one of the teams that have been, because we haven't been able to watch the scrims, right? And they have only limited practice themselves while they've been here at LAN against other teams too. So I was curious, you know, we've been seeing more of the Angela. They're like, nah, that's not us, that's not us. I'm like, Hell's Heaven though, like at this point, right? You're like, nah, we know what to expect on Factory, but that doesn't fit like our forte here. We really want to focus here and put a spotlight on Smash. And, you know, I really like that from Darkzero too, rallying behind the player who has been there from the very beginning of Darkzero's involvement within Marvel Rivals Ignite.
Absolutely. You know, building around the foundation there, that's going to be the chain that keeps them all together and keep their head in the game. Speaking of getting back into the game, though, we are going to be heading through towards a short break, everybody. So we will see you on the other side of this one right after this.
See, we told the truth. There was a little short break out here, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us here. And we already saw the beginning of this fight with Fi being able to take that first pick onto DZ. Right, Amazing falling low. Krova taking a quick nap, but not for very long, while Drijo has his way with him. And VP come out on top for this very first fight of our very first map between DZ and VP.
That's it, a great beginning there, obviously starting off strong with the opening KO and managing to find many, many more racing their way through. So, you're going to see how things play out right now as DZ looking to change things up. You know, they got the Wolverine on deck and are very excited to see if they can get some very impressive feral leaps through to tear up some of the back lane there for VP.
Yeah, honestly, if they're schmixing them up, they're schmixing me up in real life here too. While we take another short break, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us. But while we also see where our players need to be and looking back at that first fight alone, right? DZ can then go back to the drawing board, figure out, you know, what was it working out from the very beginning of the fight? Was it how scrappy it was going really close quarters after opening up that Doctor Strange portal? As we dive right back into the action here, guys. But that's what really comes into question, right? Because they already used that up. They can make some swaps if anything. And then looking at the individual pieces, because VP right now are having a lot of damage output, and that goes hand in hand together with the Mantis that was allowed through during the pick and ban phase.
That's it, you know, they're able to amplify that damage in many different directions there, and we're going to see more of that amplification right now as we're back into the game. So let's see how they take aim at this one. VP already establishing 20% onto the mission area, and DZ now looking to get back in the driver's seat, see if they can slice their way through and smash their way on point.
Literally here, while Smash is on that Wolverine, trying to isolate Nivix, who's got that Groot hug. Look for it here. Well, I like the way that VP are peeling back, though, but they still get the kidnap right around the middle console here. They know he has it, but the invisible boundary isn't enough to save Korova, who had the invisible boundary to try to save him, and then gets shut down immediately at the hands of Sparker, followed up by Nevix.
Wow, just absolute obliteration going through there from VP. They just dissect this one piece by piece, and now the mission area is looking to evolve. They are changing course on this one, so DZ going to have to approach it from a different direction here. Otherwise, they could get caught out. But speaking of getting caught out, though, both teams, they got 3, almost 4 ults online here. DZ could find the redemption arc, but they've already lost Smash. This is devastating. They keep getting singled out here.
Unfortunately, he does not have level 9 wood cutting. Those claws will not be enough to terrorize through that Groot wall. Are you kidding me? Not only is that such a big first pick, but look at this progress that VP is standing on. Nearing 85%. DZ have everything in the bank, though, to keep this fight going and force it into overtime.
We'll see if they are going to be able to do more with the Psionic Seduction now. Got a Mischief bringing out the boundary when required. There you go. Seeing both boundaries come out with the Karmic Revival there. Finzi going to be back, so they've got tools to play with here. And they may yet have more where that came from. But Smash gone down again. Not going to be able to keep themselves online. Strangling Prison as well. Kraken Impact. It's all coming down. Meteor blocked off by Finzi. Love to see the blocks coming through from the Strangers today. And that is more where that came from.
Oh, getting the little shimmy shade over to the left side with the Doctor Strange portal. By the way, that's how lethal VP's composition is right now. Sure, you can get that extra progress. Sure, you can try to get those kidnaps if you're DZ. As the Eye of Agamotto comes out here, doesn't find it smart. Right, Amazing went for a nice reset right here too, looking to help heal for the back line. But even through all that, even through that first initial pick, with overtime ticking away, VP are planting their feet here on this point where we see the 1v1, where Amazing getting the support they need, but also some support here as Finzi's going to be able to back away, splitting the attention between Fi and Finzi.
That's it, Divide and a Conquer here, and let's see if they are going to be able to conquer the mission area as both teams are contesting quite closely there. Fi looking to hold it back for a second longer. Boundary coming up. Agamotto now has the God of Mischief into the boundary as well. Velocity doing the most to keep themselves into this one. Strangling Prison did a little, but not a lot, as they are going to be slotted out there. Right, Mason keeping it online with the Psionic Seduction from Madara as well. They are managing to dismantle this, and now it's time for the comeback from DZ.
They do it successfully too, and that's even with Fi having the passive, but ended up canceling it once a reset with the rest of the team. Madara taking a good chunk of that damage, but it's going to be able to build into the next rotations between the strategist ultimates with Velocity specifically, considering Kurova's already got that invisible boundary.
That's it, they can bring that up as soon as possible there, pretty close to the Meteor as well if required. So there's a lot that they can bring into this fight here. Speaking of, they're already looking to pump up the damage there, just facing each other off, looking at each other deep in the eyes there, but no one are looking to lock it in yet. Sparker, there we go. Retro does lock it down, but it's now responded to by DZ as well. Everything has been activated all in sequence.
Even through the Soul Resurgence and trying to get that little snipe with the Meteor, Drijo is going to be able to shimmy shade his way back to the back of his team here, right behind the safety of the Finzi Doctor Strange shield. Invisible boundary, while Velocity looks to get a lot more aggressive in the copy of the Loki and the God of Mischief. Invisible boundary to aggressively set up DZ to constantly try to take this fight. But with Finzi, the Eye of Agamotto, and Sparker to be the nail in the coffin, Fi follows up right behind him, and VP had the number advantage as well as the point advantage into overtime.
That's it, they have everything they need here, are going to be able to speed their way through, take that first mission area for their own. They zone it out, lock it in, and what a way to kick off Hell's Heaven here for map number 1.
Already looking like it's leaning into their win rate record currently on Hell's Heaven, right? VP, the way that they were able to retake that fight, no matter how aggressive DZ was trying to be, it kind of puts Kurova in the hot seat, honestly. Sure, you could use these invisible boundaries, you could get a lot more aggressive velocities backing you up, and you're trying to split up the strategist's ultimate charge up, so that way you could rotate through those two invisible boundaries, but they are focusing so hard on Kurova, it is detrimental to make sure that VP doesn't have the reset opportunities that they keep having.
Yeah, they really can't afford to let them get through like this, They just keep managing to single them out piece by piece there, unraveling any of the players trying to hold on into this one. And we'll see if there's going to be a bit of a change-up coming through from DZ into this one here. Obviously, seeing the Venom come through from Nevix here, that's going to be a lot of fun VP are going to be able to have here, as they got a lot of mobility into this portion. But speaking of, it's time for Portal Combat once again. Finzi looking to take an elevated angle into this one, and see if they can just gain a little bit of stance on towards the mission area before they have to face off.
Honestly, just my mindset now, seeing the fact that the Venom was able to go through and Drijo is on the Mantis. Talk about damage boost, Feast of the Abyss potential right through a wonderful Feast of a Kurova invisible boundary, maybe, if we see that focus go down again, or maybe even Velocity, but it is Kurova who will have that invisible boundary first. Then you look at VP, Fi's already getting set up in the backline, putting in so much of that damage output. Madara is trying to focus them down. Psionic Seduction as the reset opportunity comes in from Sparker, as he tries to slam it down and is enabled by Drijo to put him into position.
That's it, Karmic Revival coming on as well. Fire going to be able to bring back Finzi here, and anyone else if they may before, but no one is going down as yet, so that's going to run its course there. Smash, though, pretty close, taking a ton of damage here. The focus is intense, but they will be able to pull through. Going to see the invisible boundary copied there by a Velocity, and now they open up in unison once again. They're Feast of the Abyss coming out as well. They've found an opening, and now they are shutting out DZ entirely.
It wasn't through the Kurova invisible boundary, it was through the Velocity invisible boundary from the copy of the God of Mischief, but that's what we were looking at, Matsy. And now VP, despite how elongated that first fight for the second round was, they do claim that point first, and the ult economy from both sides is amazing. Going right here onto that Phoenix is looking to get more of these resets in, as Impunity 2 with the Meteor M has to be so important to nail down where Fai is. Even though he doesn't have that Karmic Revival, he wants to go for the resets, and he's been putting in a lot of pressure with those headshots.
I couldn't agree more. You know, they've just been focused up, locked in, so to speak, heading through into this one. And now we're going to see the opening onto another fight here. Navix already going to be taking aim, but Smash takes him out of the game for a second. I have Agamotto coming in with the Meteor M from Impunity, trying to see if they can slice through a little bit, getting a bit of damage, but not enough to find any KOs there. So still going to see the continual progression here for VP. DC need to find a way back.
Love how you see the strategist in the back just playing patty cake here, staying alive while Drijo is able to hold all the way up to help support VP with the Mantis ultimate to put them in position. Is going to get focused here by Smash, who tries to dive in with the Wolverine ultimate, but not even the Vibranium Claws are going to be enough, as Saipe is also close to that invisible boundary. Amazing. Sneaks that KO, though, onto Sparker. Saipe keeps VP alive in this fight as they're nearing 65%.
That's it, getting closer and closer here, and we'll see just how close things can get. God of Mischief coming out again from Velocity, stealing so many boundaries there. They might need to start a wall company with that. We'll see what they can do with the rest of that, though. Oh, here we go. Karmic Revival, perfect after using the Cocoon there, and now Finzi is back in action.
And I think it's that Venn diagram, right? What are the pros and cons here in this case? As a nice stun onto Saipe, who stayed alive at the very end, but Spy's gonna bring Saipe right back at the very end of that Born again. That Karmic Revival once again coming in clutch. They're nearing 99%, and DC, while Madara takes a quick nap, Smash is coming back from the spawn. I have Agamotto from Finzi, and to force that out, where Amazing saves himself by taking to the skies here with that End Song Inferno, but VP are forcing DZ into this side room here. There's still one member of DZ staying alive, but again as he slams down, Sparker has help from Finzi to solidify this win on the first map.
What a way to get it done there. Sparker pops in when it counts. You know, when things looked like they were at a stalemate, Sparker was the answer, bringing out the Kraken impact there to send their team over the line. So that is going to be domination. Map number 1, Hell's Heaven, going in favor of VP, and Nevix jumping at you with the MVP there on the Venom. They were feasting, and they were feasting good.
I mean, Virtus Pro, I mean, we've already highlighted what a strong team this is, but that strong, I mean, look at the scoreboard. 16 final hits for Sparker, and you know who was always shoulder to shoulder with him? If it wasn't Nevix, it was Finzi. And the fact that they not only had the Mantis, but there was no ban on the Venom, I mean, not even from each side, honestly, too, as you can see right there. But it was both teams prioritizing the Bucky, with VP getting a way better outcome out here.
Absolutely. Great way to kick things off into this series, and we are going to get map number 2 set up right after this. Perhaps.
between VP, but we talk about the pick and ban phase and how important it is for reasons like this. You have the protect onto the Mantis. Sure, both teams protect the Bucky, but then you let Venom go by. And technically speaking, DZ, we've seen Impunity go Venom before too, but they really had no opportunity even with these slight picks. It was like the fact that Korova cannot play Adam Warlock. You're forcing Korova into playing Invisiwoman and then destroying and melting down Korova inside of that invisible boundary. You have to imagine what they're going to do differently here. As already off the gates, no Jeff, DZ do not want to worry about that this time around here too. As I mean, you know, we didn't get to see it here, but from VP side, also still taking away the Mantis.
That's it. Do not want to deal with that whatsoever. So we are going to see a Mantis locked once again for a VP here, so they can rely upon that however they see fit. If we don't see Venom banned here, I'll be very surprised from the DZ side. We'll see where their focus is going to lie though. Obviously their turn, and it's going to be Emma taking away into this one. Obviously still going to be an opportunity to get that Venom ban through into this next portion, so curious to see if they are going to be locking it down on either side of this one. And it's going to be strategist focus this time, so the opportunity is there for VP to protect Venom if they want.
Force Korova back on the Invisiwoman. Looks like VP once again not allowing DZ to lean into that win condition that VP found so much success on. 5 was able to get so much done with the Adam Warlock. Well, they continuously look to protect the Bucky. I'm wondering here from DZ side, are we going to see that ban over to the Venom? Oh, it's going to be the Groot this time around. And of course, we are going onto Central Park where we actually had mentioned prior that DZ feels like this is their best game mode on Convergence here is literally Central Park. But as we've also highlighted, VP have no issue on Convergence either.
Yeah, both teams having a pretty consistent record playing into Convergence there. You know, they've known their way around the field. They're going to be able to yield some good results, you would think. But we do see the Battle of the Groots will be not happening. And it's going to be a Bucky's focused up on both sides there. So curious to see what is going to be picked through for both of these teams into this next portion. As Venom already going to be hovered there by Nevix. Definitely keen to see if they can get that one online. I like to see Fi hovering over the Devil though. I'm curious if they're going to commit that one at least to the initial section here. But, you know, the talent like to bait us out a little bit there.
They always tease me. I have no hope anymore now, Matsuya. You know, I mean, I love to see the Devil be released out here. Let the Devil out with Daredevil being brought into Marvel Rivals after Season 4.5. But we've been hovering and teeter-tattering, you know, throughout a lot of our teams thus far between both of our streams that we have going on simultaneously. But this is a best of 3. And even though DZ want to take VP to a map like this team, when we talk about Virtus Pro, they're one of the most consistent teams we have seen within Marvel Rivals Ignite, and it's going to be hard to even sway them unless you bring out something different when it comes to this pick and ban phase, and they still allowed the Venom to go through. We did see Impunity kind of hover over the Venom before swapping over to the Magneto, and then at least they do have that team up between the Magneto and the Emma Frost as well.
That's it, and it looks like the cloak is actually going to be coming out this time for DZ, so curious to see how that works out for them.
Matty's laughing because in the break I was like, man, I mean, you're getting the double whammy for free at this point. With the Loki and the God of Mischief, you're burning through 2 invisible boundaries, so I do like this change up from Velocity, but again, you're also still forcing Korova on this Invisiwoman. When you have to worry about a ban against the Jeff, you're worrying about a ban against the Adam Warlock. This is what happens, and the importance of this pick and ban phase on Nivix is already a mosquito, and they try to get the fly swatter to get him out of there, but he's in and out just as quickly as you saw him start the engagement to force out some cooldowns.
That's it. Smash going to be taking a little bit of damage there as well. Not really able to find anything as yet. Might be able to get a good catch if they can find the opportunity. Here we go. Eternal Bond coming online there. So Velocity clearing a bit of space for their team and keep those heals activated so they can yield some fine results here. Haven't been able to push it over the first tick onto the mission area as yet though. But if they can continue to force the issue here, there you go. They will be able to lock it down. A VP on the back foot for a second though. Sparker is now activated.
And this is what they're waiting for. They're just waiting to farm their strategist ultimates to now enable Sparker, who goes in first, and Cypher's right there with Invisible Boundary, but they don't need it when Sparker is just completely annihilating Darkzero all alone here. VP rallying behind him, and that is the conversation when everyone says, take your eyes and look upon Sparker, and it's for reasons just like this.
just absolutely electrifying with those KOs there, and they managed to confidently dismantle the offense of Darkzero. Albeit, they did manage to get one tick onto the mission area, but they're going to have to work a little bit harder if they want to push it further. Feast the Abyss are coming online right now, though. Nevix does catch Kurova there, so that's already a great start. Madara in a bit of trouble as well. Now, there you go, one by one, they all fall down. The domino effect again. VP are just commanding the field here.
Someone call 911. They have families at home, but DZ are nowhere to be seen. VP, just another day at work. Oh, Nevix is running through the wall, getting some information right through the gate here too. But VP, I mean, literally dominating thus far on this defense. I mean, even from the very beginning when they gave some space to DZ here, Matty, they allowed themselves to back away and then counter-rotate around DZ, but everyone's got ultimates as Drijo keeps Nevix alive.
That's it, great for the Soul Resurgence there. Meteor coming out,
Oh my.
as well, going to be blocked off. Again and again, these Meteors are just nullified here. Not able to find impact, but what is going to be impactful is the boundary for now. Psionic Seduction from Madara, though. We're going to see if they can barge in with this one. Haven't been able to catch anyone as yet. And here we go, the Sparker effect back online. They aren't able to get much from it, though. DC are bringing out plenty of ults, but there you go. Karmic Revival actually going to be stopped. This is great. They don't have the resurrection potential.
I mean, you had the Galactic Legend coming out immediately right afterwards, and finally, DZ having the number advantage this time around. Kurova had got down slightly earlier before that last engagement with the invisible boundaries we've seen, but now holding on to it for this fight while they are trying to finally take this point. Madara comes back around, gets a quick 2K. Velocity gets a finishing blow onto Finzi. Madara making it a 3K this far, and that is right through the portal attempt that VP had tried to use. At least they get this payload moving here. Even when it looked a little grim, they were able to brute force their way right through that choke.
Yeah, great to see that their hard work paid off in the end there. They had to utilize a lot of their ultimates, you know, only having access to the boundary into this next one, but the hard work paid off when it counted. Now, VP, they're looking to make some changes as well. Sparker is actually jumping onto the Psylocke now. I think they can find a lot of potential around that pick there, especially having the Dance of Butterfly available with the Mantas and Feast of the Abyss on Nevix. I just sense so much KO potential from this lineup right now.
Yeah, so much damage output. I'd be shivering right now if I'm the back line of Darkzero, because you got Nevix diving in right here too, close to that Feast of the Abyss. Lovely freeze though. Here's that follow-up, but then you hear the Born again, and it's gonna bring Drijo, Saipe, Sparker right back around as Drijo a little bit out of that range. It looks like same thing as Finzi comes right back in. So Drijo would have to wait just a little bit longer here, but Darkzero, they're still holding on to 3 of these ultimates to try to match that of VP, who have 4 ready to go.
Ready to go, ready to flow their way in, and see if they are going to take this one for a spin, or perhaps Darkzero going to wait for the rest, but Feast of the Abyss already going to be activated there, doubling in Strategist ultimates for Darkzero here. One of the same Soul Resurgence is online right now from Drijo, and we'll see if they are going to be able to power in, down to the Butterfly, coming online. It is going to be the fate of both worlds, into the Galactic Legend, into the boundary. Everything is happening right now, but nobody is going down.
No, everyone's staying alive from both of the strategists, from both these teams, unless you're Drijo and dealing with impunity at a point-blank dunk. The Vanguards have woken up for Darkzero. They're looking to clear this space while Finzi continuously stalls here on the Captain America.
At long last, the Meteor will hit. There's no shields in the way this time, so they are going to yield a confident result to push it through to the next checkpoint here. Getting a little bit more time, but Nevix, temporary delay, but it ain't long enough. So we will see 2 minutes and 20 to go for Darkzero here to see if they can power their way through. Do have the BRB online, so Nevix going to be able to come back into this one, but we'll see if they can stall them out as long as possible, as there you go, velocity's down, a great start, and they might find more around the corner.
Right there, in front of the rest of the team, they were able to isolate him, and Nevix has just been a terror. You talk about the damage output, and this is even with Drijo making a swap up, right? Being over to that rocket, you got that BRB. While Nevix is creeping about, getting the memo that Halloween's right around the corner, still trying to put some fear into Darkzero, while now Amazing on the Ultron is trying to make the magic happen into creating some of this space. Drijo's right there to try to match that as well. with Tetsuya, and Kurova does have that invisible boundary while they try to wrap around that next corner, but look at who's waiting for them in the back. Nevix and Sparker are also having the opportunity to continuously harass his back line.
That's it. They're locking him down. Already finding a couple of KOs between them and are looking to see if they can find many more. So they got it past the gates, sure, but they haven't been able to push it any further. Poor Kurova. They're trying to fall away. Nobody can save them. And that's going to be another KO online.
That was so slow and painful too, because you saw him try to double drip away. You saw there's still that slight a little time before the Invisible Man fully turns invisible, and Finzy's like, I'm gonna get you. No Loki to help him out here. This stalls even more time away from the Darkzero time back. Well, Nevik is getting away with anything. They had swapped over to the Loki on purpose so that way they could at least get those lamps out, so that way they could deter a lot of that damage and pressure that currently the Venom and Spark are doing. And on top of that, Finzy, this is what Dive is all about between the VP way. Even with Darkzero, they have 3 ultimates ready to go here, and Velocity could keep them in this fight with the God of Mischief and the Invisible Boundary.
That's it, Boundary online right now. Freedom Charge looking to run its course as well. Finzy doing the best they can to keep their team in this one. But there we go. Psionic Seduction, Galactic Legend now online for fight here. Try and see if they can catch anyone off guard into this one. All right, amazing. Does manage to find the pick there. Traded back though. Finzy back online as well with a BRB. This is exactly what you want to see. Rage of Ultron here, but no one is able to keep themselves on. It's all going to stay in focus for VP right now. Slowly but surely staggering out these KOs. Both Vanguards are offline here. This could be curtains unless they find a way back. Kurova's on Strange trying to get the portal in. Are they going to be able to get it over though? They're getting forced down. The cap says no. We reject your claim to this mission area, and that will be that.
Get through the shield first as he body blocks him from the other side of the portal. Not much to be done from Darkzero's side aside from trying to desperately recontest on that payload, but they got some progress. They got some progress despite it looking the way that it did from the very beginning before they got that point and flipped it for the payload to start moving. It looked a little grim right there with the way that VP were able to split so much attention away from the back line. If it wasn't the back line, we even saw the front line getting harassed because the strategists were so occupied in keeping each other alive due to Sparker just harassing them on that Psylocke. They got a game plan here, and DZ, they at least got to that next upcoming checkpoint before, unfortunately, falling short behind that bridge.
Yeah, so close yet so far there. So DZ going to have to work all that much harder onto the defensive side here. And VP, you know, they just looked locked down. They managed to really lock in a lot of decent KOs coming through into their defensive section there. But now they're looking to play offense. And considering how offensive they were on the defense, I'm scared of what they're going to bring here.
Yeah, because, you know, this also highlights the difference in the pick and ban phase. While VP had protected the Mantis, DZ had the Mantis banned against them. So while we did highlight that Impunity has a great Venom, you can't get the same output that you have VP with when you have Nevix and Drijo right there alongside each other, and then Sparker to clean up with even extra damage. Once again, forcing the strategist from Darkzero to be in a difficult position here, while VP now coming out of the gates.
Breaking their way in, looking to take it slow and steady here. It's the battle of the mags up at the front here, but Smash has already gone down from afar. Good trade from Ryan Amazing though. Nevix is down. Going to see a little bit of a resurgence, a little bit of recovery here, but they're looking to smother their way in. They don't care what's going to be in front of them here. They are focusing up, looking to take down the runes there, but no one else has gone down as yet.
VP getting a little bit of a faster pathing right behind them where the spawn room gates are, while Right Amazing is playing wonderfully around these pillars. Nevix continuously harasses them though through that choke and the grapple in, forcing Nevix to back away. Away here, he's going to be able to have some of that support because Saipe's got that invisible boundary, and Drijo right alongside them here could bring them all together, put them into a lot more of an aggressive position. They try to isolate the Venom here. Sparker gets stunned, cannot get the reset right when he wanted to go in for the slam down, and Right Amazing keeps Darkzero alive and gets a lot more aggressive while allowing Velocity with the God of Mischief to have the invisible boundary.
And Smash is looking to break their way back in as well. Good triple KO coming online from them there. Going to force the reset onto VP here. and see if they can find a way back into it. But we got just over 2.5 minutes for VP right now. They're doing a good job of just holding back for the moment, you know, looking to recover here. They're pretty close to having 4 ults on deck into this one, and one in particular you got to highlight is the Karmic Revival there. I feel like that could be the difference maker into the next fight here, but here we go. Kraken Impact online into the Meteor, trying to shut down Smash as quick as they possibly can here. Another Meteor coming on. Everybody is fighting through.
Oh, if that would have hit actually right there on the very corner of that invisible boundary, but everyone is getting pushed and pulled like it's a seesaw match as a Silent Seduction comes out. The invisible boundary is brought up by Kurova, and Ryan Macy's waiting for it as he's got the Ultron Rage. They're trying to continuously harass Nevix as Sparker's looking for a reset opportunity. Ryan Macy still has the Rage going on from the Ultron for now, but don't have much as Sparker cannot get the reset himself. It's all about the pressure in a neutral fight. If VP gets to save Fi here and make sure he's in this is forcing Darkzero off this point, and VP already have the second checkpoint.
So close to getting the third as well, but DZ will be able to get onto the mission area just in time. Portal as well coming from downtown from Impunity here. Will it be enough though? They're still stalling it out for the moment, but they're getting KO'd through. They need everyone on, and that is going to be that. They will not be able to get there in time. It's going to be mission area control converted onto the convoy section here. Ratatoska is on the move.
Man, the Tether 2K. Nevix is having so much fun here. When it comes to Central Park, we were talking about the adaptability from VP. Look at him waiting, looking to dive this backline right now, looking to feast. While Velocity does have that God of Mischief as he pulls up. He wants to try to space this out together with Kurova, but also enable the controller duelist that is Smash here. But VP also have so many answers, as we already highlighted Fi having that Karmic Revival.
They can activate that once again if they require, but we are seeing the boundaries coming up into the Meteor, into the Kraken Impact. Everything is breaking through here. Fire still holding out though. There we go. Does bring Nevix back with the Karmic Revival there. So we're going to see if they can stifle their opponent's efforts, but Rage of Ultron right around the back could manage to lock one down. Fire is down. Might find Dredro as well. No! They do escape it this time, and Fire still manages to bring back some of their teammates here.
You can't get rid of Mr. California. Ultron still involved here from Rymazing's hand as Darkzero are rotating through these strategist ultimates. We saw that earlier from Velocity here as Dredro brings everybody together with the Soul Resurgence. Another Meteor M as Impunity's looking to find their mark here with the follow-up as Kurova sends out Sparker. Impunity helping them out, and that's even with Nivix being able to move up with the Feast of the Abyss, finding 3 on the anti-heal, but no follow-up potential from the rest of VP.
Ooh, looking good again. Rymazing catching one right around the back there. That's going to cause a little bit more a stall there. So good to see that they can manage to just stagger out those KOs. A fight looking to change things up on to the Phoenix as well here. Okay, looking to go back into the double duelist. We'll see how it goes for them as they are trying to see if they can find a way to break through here. A little bit more damage certainly could cause a lot of impact here. Navix, I love to see them sneaking around the back there, diverting the focus and not allowing just a single file into this one.
Nice little stumble. Rymazing, by the way, gets another Ultron's Rage and finds Fi in the process. After seeing these swap ups and forcing VP to go back to the drawing board, time is of the essence, and DZ feeling pretty happy with the fact that they were able to get that next upcoming checkpoint that VP are struggling with, currently down to a minute, less than 18 seconds on the clock. They're about to have the Eye of Agamotto here. They could recontest as well, with Fi also making the swap up and could have the Ensong Inferno to reset.
See if they are going to be able to do it here. Here we go. Kraken Impacts online for both sides right now. Boundaries into the Soul Resurgence from Dredro, and we do have Agamotto into the Inferno. Everything is happening right now. The boundary's been copied by Velocity as well. They bring it back up.
Wow.
The impacts just are not hitting the way they want them to right now, so everybody is going to be activating everything, and there's no more ults until there is.
Yeah, just a huge shout out to the survivability of Darkzero, the strategist popping off, keeping Smash alive. We saw 2 stun, Madara staying alive for now. Silent Seduction ready to go as they get the choke slam, and they come back alive as Rymazing forces them back with another Ultron's Rage. No matter what shield's in front of him, he's looking to break through. They're trying to focus on Rymazing, and Madara gets to be put into the driver's seat to hold forward with this Silent Seduction.
great way to force them back there. Time is of the essence here. They only have 10 seconds to go. Nevix holding back, holding firm into this one. You would expect there might just be something around the corner, but it's looking intense into this one, and they don't get on the mission area.
No
Nevix
way.
is taken down. Darkzero tie it up, one map apiece.
I hear the players laughing behind us. I heard like a pop-off just a few seconds before that. We saw them rounding around the corner. We saw them trying to go through the broken building. Cut off. They cannot put one toe in line on that payload. We have a tied series on our hands here, Matsy, as Darkzero are taking this the distance. Velocity, your MVP, which, by the way, I have to say, Velocity's always been consistently the MVP the last few times that we've seen Darkzero, but coming through with not only that healing output in comparison to VP, but also being able to enable Smash out here with those 11 final hits, and Rymazing with that swap up onto the Ultron to not only get those strategist ultimates online even faster, to also help enable the Loki rotation involved with the invisible boundary, but also with the damage output.
Yeah, just so impressive how they were able to combine their forces to just really activate and give it the very best they could. I can't believe that they managed to push it through there, holding on to it to the very end. And there's going to be more intensity just like that right on the other side of this break.
Darkzero taking a little page out of the book that they've learned. Kurova with the Invisiwoman push as they look to go to game number 3 versus a team like Virtus Pro. I mean, it's been upset galore thus far, Matsy, and I'm all in it to see it play out.
Oh yeah, I'm all in it to see which team is going to win it. And you know, you talked about the ambulance before. Well, looks like we're going to the map with the ambulance into the third one. We're going to Midtown, everybody. Herbie going to be online in this one. I'm very keen to see which team is going to be able to take that win there. But I just can't believe the intensity these teams are bringing. The comeback is just so real from Darkzero.
And VP taking a note, right? Because they're currently 6-1, I believe, on Midtown. So they mean business going forward here. It is a best of 3. And usually when we play in best of 3 territory, there's a lot less room for error. Obviously, you got less games to play throughout here and less opportunities to go through those pick and ban phases. But, like, I was talking to Matsy during the break, and I'm wondering, I thought they nerfed Ultron's ult charge here because he was getting it at the start of every single fight out here. So that is something else that DZ have been able to really benefit off of, making those swaps when Rymazing went back into the Pride and True Ultron that we've seen Rymazing pop off on before.
Yeah, it just goes to show, you know, they're able to hit that consistent damage through, pump up their teammates with the passive heals there, and they manage to get massive results, you know, utilizing their ultimate to perfection. And they just keep resurrecting their team's hopes and spirits by just activating onto those KOs there. I'd love to see them isolate the opposing strategists. You know, it was really good to see how they were able to make that happen. But speaking of making things happen, let's see exactly how they made things happen into the previous endeavors.
Now we take a look at the side-by-side here. Madara with a huge pop-off, who woke up a lot too by the end point of that last previous match. Impunity, we're talking about the flexibility. Yes, we've seen the Venom before from Impunity, but no Mantis to damage boost and to allow DZ to really pop off. This is actually the series between DZ and Sentinels that allowed DZ to find themselves here in Atlanta. And we talk about taking a page out of the Sentinels book where Aramori, who had pushed Sentinels off of that point, it was Spider Islands, I believe, on that game in playoffs. Well, guess what? They replicate the same thing if you are Kurova and the rest of Darkzero to force VP off of that payload. Smash 2, they kind of interchange between each other, even though we were playing on 4.0 here. Kurova's a menace on the Jeff, which is why we keep seeing the target bans. If it's not the Adam Warlock, as I see Kurova as the Adam Warlock incarnate, it's the Jeff on top of it.
Yeah, just getting a lot of potential through with the Jeff, aren't they? A lot of players are really able to activate on that one and really are playing with great success on to the strategist there. But great to see how things went for them, obviously into their previous endeavors on 4.0, and they're managing to take that and go even further beyond here in 4.5 as well. But speaking of diving in, we are into the draft phase. Let's see who stays, who goes. It's going to be Emma and Mantis, a no-show.
Okay, they VP acknowledging the problem here. Well, they're actually swapped here instead. So VP are on the bottom end here. They are going to be the ones attacking, while DZ are on the top. So they ban out the Emma Frost. I was wondering if VP had showed the respect to Madara that we see really pop off on the Emma Frost before, but no. They protect the Jeff. They continuously stay banning the Mantis.
That's it. Going to be great to see that damage amplification will not see the light of day anymore. But Jeff will be something that will see the light of day from a VP here. So keen to see some big eats come through there, and curious to see what else they are going to be slicing away, as it is Jeff. So only one side are going to have advantage with Jeff this time around, and very eager to see what else is going to be taken through into the next portion here, as the next bands are looking to get focused up.
As we keep seeing, right, not allowing Kurova to get away with any Jeff shenanigans here on Midtown. And they did protect that Emma Frost too, so they will allow Madara to help stay enabled here on that pick, being on that aggressive Vanguard, and still so strong as the Bucky band. That's interesting to roll out next from VP, showing their respect as well to what Darkzero could usually roll out with the way that they could also be flexible.
Yeah, and it's been great to see like a lot of potential come through with the Bucky. You know, teams have really been able to make or break fights as a result of some of those cracking impacts. But now, what does that let through? It's the Groot. We haven't seen Groot manage to break through the drafts too often, but this time Darkzero will get it. But they aren't going to have a chance to play Adam, so that's going to nullify some of the resurrection potential into this one. And very keen to see how VP respond to this.
I really like this, by the way, from DZ, because the Emma Groot combo, you know you get the follow-ups with those walls, and Impunity is an insane Groot, while VP, they protect the Bucky on their own behalf. And the reason why you see that Bucky ban, too, is something that Smash could actually flex over to. We've seen Smash do this before. If it isn't the Star-Lord, we usually have seen Raimazing up on that Ultron, but he can also flex the Ultron aside from the Bucky.
Ooh, we could see a bit of triple into this one. Okay, I see what's going on here. Definitely keen to see how the defense will fare for Darkzero into this one. VP, one in the same, just going to be looking to get some of their picks locked down here. Looking to hover over fair few things, but I'm not convinced that they're going to be letting the devil out just yet. You know, maybe they might need it. But who knows, as we will be speeding our way into Midtown here. Herbie is reloaded, and let's get ready to rumble.
And to highlight what is at stake right now, we talk about the changes DZ have gone through as a roster. You look at VP, and this was considered the best team in EMEA at their peak until they lost to Berber Patapin, now new Citadel, in a Game 5 lower bracket final that would have qualified them into the mid-season finals in China. Now they're here, back with a vengeance, and not only do they want to keep going and ride this momentum this time around after they've been able to perform so well and winning stage 2 of EMEA, but now this is a tied series on their hand in a best of 3 if they're looking to make the comeback after winning game number 1.
Perfect response to the triple here. Sparker going to be bringing out the Moon Knight. So you're going to see how quickly Khonshu is going to charge up here, as the Archers going to be looking to push their way through right now. Herbie already getting a little bit of traction, but it's time to get those Blaze through to see if they can carve their way forward, and their ult is charging so hastily with the arcs there.
You keep pushing Sparker anymore, and he's going to get whiplash here. He's looking to put down the hand of Khonshu, forces them back to build up that space. Backs away, is able to get healed right up to full health as Raimazing brings back Impunity with that BRB. Is also able to keep DZ alive, because we talk about some of the changes. I mean, Rocket being able to have more of that damage output here thanks to that, as well as Saipe and the invisible boundary to keep VP in this fight. And when Netflix comes right back around, he will have that Groot hug ready to go.
Yeah, they built up so many of their ultimates defensively so quickly here. So no matter what VP is trying to bring to them, they have a response to it right now. Speaking of, Strangling Prison in a 2. We got a Mischief there. The boundary's up if they need it. A fight goes down, so not going to see Storm out of this one. But a response with another Strangling Prison into Khonshu. There you go. It's Jeff coming out as well. Tritro going to be sending them away into the spawn point. Good night. Farewell or not?
Oh no, they forced the stall. They forced the stall for as long as possible. I mean, what better way to just terrorize DZ, break their foundation, than a huge stall onto the Vanguard lineup, allowing Saipe to pick that up. We go to a quick break, but maybe not. They got us actually this time around as we keep going. And VP do have Finzi and the Eye of Agamotto fine with the Omega Hurricane too.
That's it. We could see some Jeff Nato coming through to break in at one point or another, depending on how VP play this one out. But obviously, they got to wait for it's Jeff to charge back up before they even think about that. Right now, though, Darkzero going to be focused up to try and stall out the mission vehicle as long as possible, because they are right on the edge of the first checkpoint right now. And there you go. Cosmic Yarn, Amplifier online into the boundary. Meteor coming up onto the Agamotto. Everything is coming out.
Omega Hurricane, the invisible boundary, but they waited just enough time to wait at the very end here to find Raimazing. Kurova's invisible boundary was also called in at a really good time to deal with that damage output, but it won't withhold Impunity, as he'll have the BRB, the hand of Khonshu, to allow Fighter also get back into the driver's seat to find Smash on top of it all. That's DZ playing with a number disadvantage unless Impunity could go crazy, but may want to hold on into that Groot ultimate after he sees the rest of his team fall before his eyes.
great strangling prison there just to get the final icing on the cake, and they will be able to layer their way into the first checkpoint. So great job coming through in the end from a VP. They managed to clear a bit of space and are looking to see if they can get a bit of displacement through. They're focused up towards the next checkpoint. The portal going to be coming out to try and stall them in a second, and here we go.
How about the fact that they used that strangling prison just earlier? Great stun off the rip here from the opening of that portal onto Finzi, and then the follow-up with Amazing being on the rocket. Drijo does have that It's Jeff, and we've seen Drijo go for some crazy shenanigans before and stopping some Doctor Strange portals after it was already used up from the other side at the very least for DZ, but they keep their feet planted to try to keep contesting VP thus far, and it's a hard choke sometimes too to deal with if you're on VP side, but with the Hand of Kanchu, that may be all you need, but Impunity doesn't have that wombo combo. He does have that BRB, if anything, to bring him right back, as you can see right there with Amazing, and then the God of Mischief from Velocity to get a little aggressive here to put DZ back in.
Yeah, pushing them back up, pushing them back in. They are going to be in to the Omega Hurricane. Jetnado time. Drijo is ready. Agamotto around the back as well. Maelstrom coming out. They're pumping up the numbers and slicing through the back line. This is exactly what VP needed in order to push that defense away. So they are going to have a smooth path ahead to push on through to the next portion here.
Sioux mains were sweating a little bit when they heard the Sharknado come out. You could wait it out with your velocity. Yeah, you had your invisible boundary, but the damage output right through there together with the Sharknado cannot help you. Literally getting pushed around here too on top of it all. It brings down that invisible boundary. Velocity makes the swap over to the Luna Snow here as VP have 3 ultimates, including the Hand of Conchu, and with Vi getting Impunity, he can't even get through that choke safely.
Not this time around. Agamotto into the Strangling Prison, but they aren't able to get too much from it. It's still just trying to stall things out here. Great to see. It's time for Khonshu into the invisible boundary. They do find one for fight there, but are they going to be able to defy the odds and find any more? Not to be seen as yet until Sparker activates again.
It's you get it right through the cracks, but when there's no follow potential, when you do not have the damage output, VP are just going to keep running you over. Somebody needs to deal with this Category 5 Hurricane because Vi right now is just unstoppable on this storm.
Yeah, they're just uncontested, you know, they just manage it to activate. They're staying close to the percentage with Jeff there as well, so we could see another Jetnado on the way if they manage to just time it correctly. It's just crazy to see, and I reckon they might just be able to use that to find the final push they need here. They just have to wait for that perfect timing. And Darkzero, they're on their toes right now. You know, they're trying to stall them out, but that mission vehicle is pushing with a lot of speed.
See the Omega Hurricane and trying to go in with the Sharknado. They get it side by side, even through the invisible boundary here from VP to just keep them in this fight. Nevix gets stunned. The Galactic Legend, as both members between Smash and Amazing take to the skies, falling through with what they feel is most comfortable. Again, another look at what we've seen between 4.0 patch and their performance within playoffs, as Nevix has that Strangling Prison as he tries to hold up. Modder keeping track of that and does have that Psionic Seduction.
Yeah, they've at least got some pieces there to utilize in their space, but we'll see if they are going to be able to find the timing. Here we go, Meteor into the Psionic Seduction here. Sparker dodges away, won't be taken down this time. Nevix, however, not so lucky, so we'll at least find something through. Boundary coming up from Saipei there as well, and it's going to be traded by a Kurova. So both boundaries all online here, but now it's time for Jeff to get some good eats through. They capture a couple. Ooh, not going to be able to find much more. Amazing, doing leaps and bounds for their team.
Literally, get down, Mr. President, as they were trying to protect Kurova there. You saw the Magneto bubble. You saw the focus from Amazing, but Sparker is being left unchecked. And while everyone is fixated on trying to protect the rest of Darkzero from the jaws of Drijo, then they are not fixated on what's happening in front of them.
Yeah, they have to really divert their focus there, otherwise they're going to be in big trouble. But speaking of big trouble, we are just seconds away from a potential victory here to take all 3 or more. But it's going to be time for Ultron to get angry here. Amazing. Trying their best to just keep their team online into this one, not focusing up on the KOs this time, just focused on team synergy. Agamotto in to the Galactic Legend. Everything is happening here, but no one is going down.
At least providing some extra cover, though, onto Impunity and Mater, who got hit by that Eye of Agamotto from Finzi, and Saipei holding on to that invisible boundary, not feeling any pressure at the hands of Smash, who used that Galactic Legend. Velocity gets a copy with the God of Mischief, has the invisible boundary, too, on top of it all. It's both a Venn diagram between both of these teams, and Fi's about to get the Omega Hurricane, but he goes down before he can activate it. It is Drijo right now that has the It's Jeff. He activates it, avoids Impunity, and the Meteor M, as overtime is taking away VP without Finzi, and Fi finally coming back from the spawn. DZ have cleared them out.
At long last, they managed to find the confidence they needed to stall them out right on the edge there. It will not go all 3 checkpoints. It will be stopped on the edge of 2. So, Darkzero feeling good at the end of that defense there, but now it's time for them to lock in onto their own attacking section here to see if they can match that energy or exceed it to potentially take this series.
Oof, I'm loving these adjustments, man. High level Mara Rivals Ignite. That's what we come here for, Matsy. As we can see VP pondering to see how they're going to roll out now. Darkzero, though, looking so good with the way that they were able to hold that. Between the protect that they had between the Groot and the Emma, really benefiting them.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. You can see a pretty similar energy coming through from MVP right now. Just looking to play around that Groot into the Strange there. But I'm keen to see how Smash goes onto the Punisher. You don't see him too often anymore, but I can definitely see exactly what their thoughts are with that one. You know, they want to play into that final judgment to see if they can just rip through the front line there. And I think that that is going to benefit them and go a long way. But speaking of going a long way, VP, they aren't going to be shoved over at the end of the day. They are focused up onto this one as well. They will be looking to hold this one down as confidently as they possibly can here. But the gates are almost open, and Herbie is focused up and ready to push on.
Ready to get this started, but we'll have to look on to the walls that are waiting for Herbie on the other side here of this choke. Already trying to get set up here. If you can see VP's current position, trying to split the high to low ground too, with Fi being on that Star-Lord. Very similar to what we've seen from DZ when they had to try to hold that defense. Smash too had no issue making that swap up to the Star-Lord a little bit later down the defense line, as Smash is going to try to meet him up right here up on the high ground here, as well as Drijo backing away. Nivix is going to get stunned temporarily, but look at these group walls. Where can you go through them? How do you get this support down locked here? If you're the strategist, you're at least low-key. You could put these lamps down and you could tell your Vanguard to back away. Oh,
yeah,
he already used lamp.
Rely on them, but obviously not going to rely on them too long. Good focus from Fire there, shuts them down. Now the castle's starting to crumble. Impunity's out of here as well. It's going to be a bit of a reset coming through from Darkzero here. They've at least managed to make a little stand onto the mission vehicle, but VP, they're standing firm here, scoping out information. I see you, Fi, and they're looking to see if they can defy their enemies.
I like that awareness too, and just calling out the cooldowns of these abilities. See this very often as the Extermination comes out. Ultron's Rage is going to be met with the invisible boundary from Saipei, ready to go in the punish from Drijo. The Hydro Pump to find Amazing out of the sky, and still holding on to the It's Jeff, holding DZ into their spawn room gates. They still got some time to work with here, but everything they've swapped over to here, Matsy, has not worked out in their favor.
Yeah, looking to surf their way through this one and see if they can manage to establish themselves once again now. Got plenty of ults online from VP here, so as soon as Darkzero tries anything, they have a chance to respond. There you go, Galactic Legend. See, are going to be online from Sparker here as well, so trying to amplify the damage, keep their team online a little longer. Strangling Prison as well. Nevic's good for it. Eternal Bond coming out from Velocity here though, but they've already found an opening KO, so we'll see if more's going to be following. Meteor coming out. Drijo in a bit of trouble there. Impunity does find Saipei around the back, however.
I thought Drijo was going to go for the craziest clutches MVP in saving Saipei, but a little too late on activating that. Chose differently when it comes to that choke and seeing everybody grouped up together. They've only lost out on Finzi. Fi's literally, watch out, he gets the health pack at the very end as we see the Peter v. Peter 1v1, and Smash comes out on top. Right, Amazing's got the Ultron Rage as well, and now looking at VP as they're trying to back away. They're going to give this space to DZ before they try to re-engage for this next fight.
Yeah, looking to concede this one. Amazing bringing out the Rage as well. Trying to see if they can get something else through. The boundary is going to be good for them. Amazing is out of here now. So the contest may yet be on the way here. VP get it close. 3.45 meters here. Strangling Prism from Nevix. Great response into this one, but the KOs are all favoring them right now. It's a cleanup on Isle DZ.
And Nevix like, don't forget about me here. I got the Grooch movement here too, and he's got the ramps to also complement him to get onto the high ground. Wasting time away. Look at DZ's time back, less than a minute on the clock just to get to that first checkpoint. That's why VP had backed away, and then the recontest off of that portal was so huge.
Yeah, huge stuff coming through. Grinding away on the Rams. May as well call him Tony Hawk. And we'll see how they are going to be able to push forward now as a DC look to contest once again. They've got the Galactic Legend online, taking down the BRB, and here we go.
Now going to be able to unleash the Galactic Legend, forcing out the Sia this time around from Sparker. And Sparker finding some of these headshots onto Impunity to take him out. He finds him right before Velocity could save him here with the Eternal Bond, and they see the BRB over into that side room. No armor packs, nobody coming back, but it's Jeff, and it's found the strategist of Darkzero, while 5 cleans up the rest, as my friend Leg Day would say, V5-0 thumb. It's not enough, as DZ cannot clutch it out, and VP, they stay on top after winning game number 1 and take it to the very end.
Amazing stuff coming through from VP on the defense. Darkzero, try as they might, they will not be able to get away with this fight here. So VP are going to be our eventual victors into this one. A 2-1 in the series. And what a way to blaze ahead for them. Darkzero definitely are trying to fight on, give it their all here. But alas, in this one, they will fall.
The lads here in EMEA continuously dominate, showcase that consistency as we take a look at the board. Saipe with the pop-off, 40k heal. I mean, let's be looking at the stats alone, like the healing damage output is incredible. Look at the 18 final hits in favor for 5, 33 and 5. Meanwhile, Saipe being as good as Saipe's always been, right, on that Invisible Woman, especially, you know, crowding up that overall leaderboard for within our top, 100 players on the ranked ladder, still being able to hold 40